What was the first understanding you had of what failure means?
Failure for me is like venturing into something, not quite succeeding, but I think at the end of the day, it's about resilience, getting up and do it again.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
The upside of failure time, and what we will do, we will come back to some of your voice notes and messages for Mother's Day in a moment. But I'm so honored to welcome into studio Cedywn Joel. And when I was reading his bio, and it was saying 37 years in the business. And I was like, I'm 37 years old. And this is just such an honor and a privilege for me to be chatting to you, because you will always be our Sunny Jacobs for so many of us. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thank you for having me, and I feel smaller now.
Oh, please.
But it was wonderful doing Sunny at the time, and I think within the black communities, that's the only name they know me by.
Yes, we will never forget. I mean, being an actor.
It was a lovable character, really. Everyone loved him. And I know there's a huge culture of beer drinking in the townships.
Yes.
So they could relate to the man, you know what I mean?
So I have to ask, how did your character leave? Because I can't for the life of me remember.
Look, primarily my reason there for leaving, I actually resigned.
Yes.
I felt obligated because I thought this was my duty. And I mean, unlike other people, I took it upon myself to resign because my parents started not doing well health-wise. So I just thought to myself, no, it's my turn to go back home, Cape Town now, to take care of them. And I believe it was a blessing for me. And I actually saw the blessings. The fact that I felt obligated to take care of them, make sure they're comfortable and whatever. So, yes, primarily my parents got me back home. Yeah.
But I also think in the life of an actor, the timing was probably perfect, because some actors reach a point where you're so married to the character that no one can imagine you playing anything else, and they don't cast you doing anything else.
Yes.
But you've gone on to do other fantastic work.
Yes. I was very fortunate to have worked with, may I say, the best in this country. And those that's gone before me, what I've learned from them is immeasurable. I said to someone earlier on, I said, if they say Cedywn, they can only talk about me.
Yes.
Because I'm the only Cedywn I know in the business.
Yes.
So, I was very privileged, honored to have worked with the best in this country. And, it's immeasurable what I've learned from just watching them on the floor, on set. Not that they were all aware that I'm like a sponge. I absorb a lot.
Yes.
They say the good quality of any actor is observation.
Definitely with you on that one.
So I think I have a very good sense of observation. So to me, watching, especially the younger ones now coming through, I'm watching them and they kind of take me back to the basics, reminding me not to become complacent in what I do, and thinking I'm like so cool and wow, everybody loves me. Like, no, I've got to be on top of it all the time
and on your toes.
Yes, and on my toes, and I mean watching others keeps me on my toes.
When you think back to the younger version of yourself, as far back as you can remember, what was the first understanding you had of what failure means?
Failure, man, it encompasses a lot. Failure for me is like venturing into something, not quite succeeding, but I think at the end of the day, it's about resilience, getting up and do it again.
So are you saying the kid understood that? The one who was 10 at school, did you understand if maybe you didn't make a team or you didn't do well on your report card? Did you understand, okay, it just means I need to try again?
Yes. Absolutely, I did understand that. I think I was mature enough to understand. I've got to follow. There's certain rules, though, in life that you've got to follow. Although some people don't want to follow the rules, but there's rules. Every household has rules. And people's got to understand that. Rules in anything. In your workplace, wherever you go, there's certain rules that you have to apply. I just felt that there's certain things I could have done better.
Do you think your parents are the ones that helped you get to that place of maturity to know you can try again? Because you get some people who come from homes where failure is just not even an option, and the idea of disappointing the parents is like you would rather die. But you also get the kids who always knew it doesn't matter whether you do well or don't do well.
Yeah, look, I mean, there was a lot of pressure. The fact that I'm the buta in the house, I'm the eldest.
Yes.
So there was a lot of pressure. I always wanted to have a bigger brother or sister,
to take the responsibility.
Yeah, because whenever something happens, they need to answer, what I mean? It was tough. It was tough having been the eldest and still the eldest. I lost a brother years ago. And I understood, the failure. And I think since my mum was such a feisty woman, she expected the best from me all the time, because she was Sunday school teacher, blah, blah, blah. And, I always tried like ducking Sunday school and, trying my way out there.
Yes.
She said, then I'm not going to be at the Sunday school this morning, because how can I teach others and you not there?
Yes.
So I kind of was watched. Every move of mine was watched, so a lot of pressure. But I'm thankful for the mother that I had and the father that I had. Thankful for them keeping me aligned, because I think that's the main thing. And I wish I knew then what I know now, So it was quite a tough journey in that as a teen. My mom said, you do the right thing. Because she always reminded me, she said, if you doing the wrong thing, what you're doing to me and your dad? You're tying us down. Someone that's tied down can't help anyone. So don't tie us down. But if you do the right thing, you can trust me. I will defend you with my life. So I remember that for all these years, and it stuck with me. So I tended to, kind of raise my kids with the same guidelines, Never fighting. There's no need to hit and give them a hiding there. There was no need for that. Sit them down, talk to them. I think communication is the key, you see. And I think my mum was a good communicator.
Yes.
And she made it very clear. There was just no mistaking her for what she says.
And I think that's the nice thing about the older generation. They were very clear with what they had to say. I mean, obviously now we're a bit more of a woke generation, a more sensitive generation, which comes with its own things. But we are all very clear on what our parents meant when they said what they said.
No, they were very, very clear. No mistaking for what they said.
So I'm wondering now just about, you even mentioned if you knew then what you know now. And I'm curious about the things you know now, getting to the age that you are today, an OG, a silver OG that is choosing to take things a little bit slower now when it comes to your career. Where do you think you may have failed yourself when it comes to your health and self-care?
Yeah, look, I think I could have done a lot better.
Yes.
When it comes to taking care of my health.
Yes.
Because we fail, and then later years it catches up to us, and then we realize, hey, I could have done better.
Yes.
I should have done this more, So I'm trying now to kind of, be healthy, eat well, eat healthy, and at least take a walk if you don't want to go jogging, at least walk. Or, do something physical to keep myself in shape.
Do you think that the industry that you are in possibly fed into not encouraging you taking better care of yourself? Because it isn't just about the exercise or the eating better. It's long hours on set. It's possibly not sleeping.
That's the thing. You see, it's the time, the biggest enemy. You know, you get home, you got to prep for tomorrow. This is the Soapy Life in particular. Unlike another job, you leave the work and you go home and you forget about work. There,
Yes.
you leave the studio. You've been there the whole day. You leave, you get home. There's this ritual that you have at home. My wife says to me, wanneer gaan jy boeke vat? Meaning, when you going to go to your script?
Yes,
Because I've
now
got
you
to
have to go
prepare for
learn.
tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, so I've got homework all the time.
Yes.
It was like being back at school. You know, so people normally assume that, whatever we say there on screen, we all make this up as we go along. No,
Yes.
it's all scripted, you know what I mean? And we've got to like memorize these lines. But then the artistry will show if you make it sound as if you're saying it the first time.
So my
It
question.
mustn't sound like you've learned those lines.
Yes, or like you're reciting.
Yes, you see, and that's where the art comes in, you know, to make people believe what they hear and what they see is true.
In terms of the part of memorizing lines, and I'm actually just realizing as I'm talking to you, I think about actors from your generation, the John Gunnies, that you still have such youthful energy. Do you think the fact that you work in a space that requires you to constantly work that memory, even though it's arguable which memory it's sitting in? I think it's usually short-term memory. Do you think it's been keeping your brain alive? That
Yes,
thing, that
very
ritual
much, very
of
much.
memorizing lines,
Yes.
going home, and then being like, how can I now add the flavor I need to?
No, I must admit, having come and having done a lot of soapy stuff on Generation 7,
Yes.
The Laan, whatever, and having joined the St. Worcester group,
Yes.
you know, for Cape Net.
Award winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice show, and I mean, everyone relates to it. And the people just love it out there, you know.
Yes.
And it is true that we have to prepare well for the next day, you know, because we don't have the time to teach people to act. You know, you've got to come there as a ready product
Yeah.
and just go on the floor and action, and then you go. You know, you have the director to kind of tweak here and there, but you've got to know your stuff.
It's not Hollywood budgets where you have a
it's
week
not Hollywood
for one
budget.
scene.
You work like anyone else, you know. And I mean, I have so much respect for the cameramen, particularly sound guys, you know, behind the scenes. The guys that's on their feet for 12 hours a day.
Yes.
And, you know, we as actors, we can go in there, do our scene and move and go home,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm stuck there the whole day. Sometimes I'm just there for two scenes or 3 scenes, maybe even 1 scene. And I go home, you know. But then the technical crew's there for the whole of the day, you know.
So do you feel, and I mean, I know why it would be the case that you grab onto every job because you never know when the next one will come, right?
That's freelance for you.
Yes. Do you feel that some of the choices you made when you were younger prevented you from doing things like traveling?
That's the other thing, you see. I think I've spent too little time traveling because I think every young person, let me say, who's done their matric and whatever, and before they go to college, I would encourage them just for like 6 months at least.
Yes.
Travel overseas. Because you are so enlightened coming back. You can see the difference in the
Where
kids.
did you go?
Well, I went, not when I was at school. I had this thing since I'm the age of 13.
Yes.
I had this yearning to go to Cuba.
Oh, wow.
And then years later, I bumped into someone at the jazz club and I overheard this lady saying, maiden name's Fitzgibbon. And I thought, Fitzgibbon, I know someone by this. And I went to her, I said, listen, do you have a brother or nephew that's called Gerald? She says, no, it's my elder brother.
Wow.
I said, is he still alive? We were in the same class.
Oh, wow.
1969, we parted. And then I said, please tell him that I would like to talk to him. And she calls him. She says, you won't believe who am I talking to, one of your best school friends.
Oh, wow.
And he was on the phone with me. And he says, you wait right there. And we met since school after 38 years. And we're back together as good friends now.
Look at that.
And I nudged him for more than a year to accompany me to go to Cuba. And we did, 2017.
Oh, my
We
goodness.
spent a whole month there.
Why do I feel like I'm wondering if the thing that was nudging you to go to Cuba is because some distant relative actually was from there.
I don't know. People ask me why Cuba in particular. I said, don't ask me
You
that.
need to
I
do
don't
an ancestry test. There's 5%
I don't know why.
Cuban in you.
I don't know. Walking around in Havana, people thought I was Cuban.
You
Because
look the
they look
part.
like us. You get the black, you get the white, you get the
Yes.
in-between. I mean, if you walk around, any of us here in this
Yes.
building, walk around in Havana, they would assume you Cuban.
Did you have an amazing time?
Amazing. And then the next thing I know, this was funny. I walk across some square there, a martyr square of, Jose Marti, one of their philanthropists. And then the next thing I hear, somebody, as me and my friend crosses the square, statues and whatever, and then the next thing I hear, someone says, isn't that Uncle Sonny from Generation? I thought, what?
In Cuba.
I turn around and I walk back to these 5 girls standing there. I said, who just said that now? They said, but aren't you Uncle Sonny? I said, where are you from? They say, we're from South Africa. They doing, they studying to become doctors.
Oh my
Because we have this exchange with Cuba, with students
yes.
going there as medical students. And I was like blown away. My friend had such a laugh. He said, in Cuba, all like 23,000 miles away from home. Somebody, but then again, they also grew up with the show.
My goodness.
You know, that was so funny.
There's a WhatsApp message that says, wow, Cedywn AB,
Yeah.
you're a brilliant actor. Your last week or two at Zuid-Ooster was brilliant. Every time you shouted at Bianca, I thought you were going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
The anger transcended through the screen. Brilliant. I was devastated when AB died. Do you feel like you lose a part of yourself when your character dies?
Yes, because there's a lot I could relate to AB, you know. There was a lot that I also try and stick to the values that we were taught and brought up with. And I think AB was that kind of oak, you know. He was the moral compass within the story, you know. And I mean, I'd love to think that I was that kind of moral compass to my family as well. And all I can say, I'm sorry that I had to leave. It's
At
just
least
that
you're leaving on a high note when people still love you and not
Yes.
when they're like, oh, can this character be killed off already?
No, I'm happy to hear that they saddened. I trust that I've done my job well. And look, I mean, and I want to tell them, please forgive me for leaving.
Yes.
Because I need to start looking after myself now. Because I promised myself when I turn 70, I'm gonna scale down a lot. Not entirely leave. And, you know, people say retire. No, that's too strong a word
Yes.
to say I'm retiring. No.
You're being selective.
I'm being very selective now, you know. So everything will be done on my terms now.
Do you feel like you missed out on family time with the type of
did,
work
yes.
that you're in? Do you think that when you look back, you could have made different choices?
I could have, yeah. Like I say, I'm trying to make up for that lost time, you know, because I mean, my wife in particular, she's made a lot of sacrifices because I had to be away from home for long periods of time and she kept the thing together, you know, at home. And I wanna honor her and, you know, spend as much time with them now. Because look, none of us has guarantees for tomorrow, right? So I don't know how long I'd be around still. So whatever time's left, like my father said, make sure you have a good innings.
Yes.
You know, so I'd like to have a nice innings. Yeah.
I heard the most interesting thing. So a man was talking about how him and the wife were fighting and they weren't talking to one another.
Yeah.
And then he said, it's fine. Maybe like at the end of the week, you know,
Okay.
I'll when I get home, I'll address it and talk to her. And the colleague said, who told you that? He says, told you what? Who told you you're going to go home? Who said you'll be here? Phone your wife now.
Yeah.
Do it
Yeah.
now, because even if like you say, I'll spend time with the family when I fully retire. Who said you're even going to get there?
No, I mean, I've got a nice example of a friend, acquaintance I know very well. 40 years service, man, at this company. And one morning he goes to work. He's gone.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, no, man, how fair is this now? He's had nothing of his 40 years. So why are we so hell-bent on working till we drop? And I said to myself, no, I don't want to go that route. I would want to spend as much time with my wife and my grandchildren now.
Yes.
So I can give them quality time, and enjoy them as children,
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to quickly read some WhatsApp messages. One says, what a brilliant actor. Abi sal nog nooit maak laat ons so lelik huil vir 'n hom nie. Said Oorste will never be the same without him for me. Enjoy your retirement. Not retirement, selective part of career.
Yeah.
Well deserved is what they say. And another person says, good afternoon. I'm so happy to hear this man again. Thank you so much for Fana in Kempton Park. Final thoughts on failure for all of the listeners.
Yeah, look, failure is one thing. But being resilient and getting up and put your shoulder to it, get up and do it again. Because you can only learn by the failures you've had in life. I mean, I've had a few failures, but I didn't go lie down. I didn't just go lie down in a pavement and cry and, feel sorry for myself. You've got to get up and do it again.
On that note, Cedywn, baie dankie vir alles wat jy het gedoen. We are so grateful for your contribution to this industry and just to the storytelling and narratives you've shared over the years. Thank you.
It's a storytelling that keeps me alive.
There we go.
I love the storytelling. Thank you for having me. And to the listeners out there, hey, keep watching Suidooster. I know they love it and they glue to the screens every night. Say, hey, and I miss my colleagues, I must admit. But I see them now and then, popping in there to say hello and whatever. But hey, keep well, keep good health.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.